It takes hours for the morning steam to lift in Irkutsk and the temperature to creep up from -20 or so. 5 time zones from Moscow, this sprawling Siberian city feels like a place apart. Its harsh realities overlooked by the decision makers back in the capital. Realities that are symbolized by an outside loo. Alexei's firm installed this toilet of shame opposite a tower block they manage. The residents have been running up record debts on their utility bills. So this is meant to embarrass them into paying up, or Alexei's team will block their sewage pipes.
They go on using the toilet for a couple of days. Then the drain gets blocked and water starts coming out. They can't use the loo, so by day 3, everyone comes to see us.
When I went to see one of the families on the blacklist, Natalia said she'd fallen behind on her payments after a divorce.
Of course, our wages aren't going up, and yet prices are rising for everything. But I suppose we still have responsibilities.
This tale of a toilet is a hint at new hardships in Vladimir Putin's Russia. The number of people living in poverty has been climbing for 5 years. And in Irkutsk, the grumbles are getting louder. The debtor's loo is on Vyacheslav's bus route. He's not paid much, less than £200 some months. So he was starting to look forward to his pension, not to retire, but for extra cash. Then President Putin raised the pension age, sparking protests across the country. Our leaders ignored us, Vyacheslav tells me. He'd wanted a referendum on the reform. But Vladimir Putin says it's a matter of national security, that the state can't go on funding the system now that Russians live longer. Back at his one-room flat, though, Vyacheslav argues life for many is still too tough for this reform.
We had protests, but they led to nothing. No one paid any attention at all. People can't understand why we need pension reform. In this country, with such rich resources.
Many Russians are living better and healthier lives after the real hardship of the post-Soviet years. But the predominance of women learning new moves here isn't just because this is a dance class. On average, men in Irkutsk die 2 years before the new retirement age. In the city centre, life for many actually looks pretty good these days. With Western brands, new buildings, smart cars, the middle class has clearly grown, even 3,000 miles from Moscow. Pride in the country has surged too. Putinism is all about restoring Russian status and power, and for many, all the sabre-rattling at the West has been popular. But you can feel a shift in priorities here, a changing mood. Irkutsk still has its giant Lenin. These days, it has a communist governor too.
Perhaps it's no surprise that communist politicians are beating pro-Putin ones in places like this. Places where concerns about prices, taxes, and of course that pension reform are on the rise. It feels like Russia's government is now squeezing the people for funds. And as a result, even President Putin's approval rating, that was once sky high, is starting to slide.
Some of his harshest critics here are the young communists. Students like Yevgeny, who've only ever known Vladimir Putin as president. But they protested actively against pension reform. And to me, they were outspoken on much more.
We really don't like our government. I'm 21 right now and I have to change something. I want to change something. We have to change our government, our president with his friends.
В основном это касается друзей Путина, которые...
Putin's friends are addicted to oil and pumping money, but it never reaches the ordinary people who pay huge amounts of tax. So lots are leaving the country because the state is not creating the same conditions here as there are in Europe.
There is no revolution brewing in Irkutsk, whatever the communist youth might like. But Vladimir Putin's Great Russia talk chimed with a nation that felt strong again and stable. Here, in the freezing heart of Siberia, the cracks in that message are starting to show.